James Brennan, the
Good
man, the
man.
myth, legend. Take two. Take two of day three. We're previewing day three, which is Thursday's action. We're going to review day one. Of course, every night we're coming on, but we're myself and James from Irish Racing Media, and we are previewing. And no, James should be here now. Hopefully, we get him in here smoother this time. James Brennan, the man,
Good
the
man.
myth, legend. Just building this here now, the audience, and see what's happening. So I was just telling people that we're going to preview day three's action because obviously we're going to do our previews when the declarations come out, which is 48 hours, and we're 2 days in advance. But it's nice to get it up nice and early, and then of course we'll have a review of day one. Some racing today, first day of the festival, James.
Cracking day racing, wasn't it?
Oh my God, it was great
Um,
to see. What was the highlight?
well, that's it. And not just because we said it, but I'm just delighted she was won a champion hurdle over. You know, as I said the other day, I was hoping she'd go to it last year. Obviously, she didn't go. She won the mayor's hurdle, and then when I seen her, then she was down to run, and I just thought as we said the other day, with the cheek pieces, I said, "This is her year," and
Look, it played out exactly as I said, but not only that, it's just wonderful for like when you get a special horse or especially a mare that did and but to win a champion hurdle to top it all off, like it's it's you had any power, same connections, and I was she was breathtaking today, and look, take away nothing from them in behind, but I thought Brighter Days Ahead ran an absolute cracker for her form at the track. I thought she ran a cracker, and the new line, yeah, look, she was a touch of class ahead of them, really. Like, there was no hiding space. There was a great race to watch. There was no hard luck stories. Amsterdam, the one I was probably swaying with a bit each way before I thought Lossimo would declare. He probably didn't run his race. He's a bit tricky, but other than that, everyone else had a fair shot, and she ran him to the ground. Like she took the way Paul rode it though was breathtaking, I thought.
sure, look, Paul Townend isn't, and you know him very well. Paul Townend isn't Willie Mullins' number one jockey for no reason.
No, and look, you get a lot of people coming on saying, "Oh, it's easy for him, he's riding Willie Mullins' horses," but he put himself in that position. People are
Yeah,
forgetting that you put yourself there, and you won't last in those positions if you're not performing. And Paul Town has been performing now for the best part of nearly 2 decades at this stage.
yeah,
Since the whole way through, since he's been an apprentice, he's been a standout. He stayed in the wings behind Ruby. He waited. He bided his time. He knew what was coming, and he stayed there. And Willie Mullins knew what he had because he kept him there too. And look, it was fantastic. I suppose we will touch on a few of the other races as well, just as we're talking about it. Like the Supreme. Supreme was a very good winner. He kind of blew me away, and I suppose coming back up the chute, this is Nicky Henderson's old park star. Coming up the chute, he was full of horse coming back up. He's an exciting prospect, all park
mm.
star, I think.
No, I'll be honest. I didn't see the race. I was working,
Okay,
so I only just got home, so I didn't see
yeah.
it. I obviously I will look back at
Hmm. I thought he was very good now, and he made a believer out of me. You look, it's all well and good saying that before and after, but look, he looked impressive winning. But I thought he hadn't beaten a whole pile, but he put him in their place today.
Yeah,
My one of my leading fans, he's talk to talk. He just didn't jump well enough. Then the Arkle, this was a great race to watch. I thought the runner up Kopek the Bose, I thought he's a monster going forward, and if he can harness that jumping ability. Um, I think he's going like from coming back from that runoff, and like we said it last night. I thought if he needed the time after the layoff, I thought Carrigeezy would pick up the pieces, and she duly obliged. Now, take nothing away from the winner, but you'd have to imagine like on a match day, if Kopek gets his jumping under wraps, this lad is going to be a beast going forward. I thought he was. I thought it was some performance. Like it looked like. I think really the last one took him out of it. But Carrigeezy, take nothing away from her. She's now a grade one Arkle winner, and Danny Mullins, of course. We all said it. We said it last night. He steps up on the day. Kenny Alexander's colours, those wonderful Mayor's colours, and he has another good one on his hands here. And Lolamba was back in third.
Yeah.
I think. I think
What?
the other standout then, I'm not going to touch on much of the handicap, Saratoga. What a performance from Pádraig Roach. It was obviously a well laid plan for a long time. He was a warm favourite for this race for a long time, and he went off at 10-1. Like it's crazy to think over the anti-post markets the price he was, the price he went off at. I thought he was a well laid out plan, an ex-Ballydial runner. JP owns it now. Saratoga, half brother, of course, to the horse connection, same connections, won the race with, and Pádraig Roach has shown why he's a feather off the cap of his dad, and give those three connections, the Roaches, the McManuses, and Mark Walsh in the saddle. They're gonna make hay when the sun shines, when the opportunity arises.
And just like as you're saying there now as well, Mark, and you know Mark Welch yourself, but for people say if there's a younger generation watching, Mark Welch has been with Christy Roche since he's a teenager. I remember when I was up in race, I used to be riding out in Charlie O'Neill's, and we were riding out in the mornings. Mark Welch used to be riding out for the McCreary's, and he went over to Christy Roche's then, and he's that's how they're nearly like brothers at this age.
Look, it's been well documented there with Mark Welch. He's some jockey. Like, for me, I think he's a great horseman, and
he's unbelievable.
Yeah, and
I'll tell you one thing: if I was a trainer, and come the end of this season, I'd be trying to snap him up as much as I could.
Yeah, look, Paul or Willie Mullins was talking highly regarding him. The DRF, that could be an interesting link up too when things. You don't know what way this partnership is going to dissolve fully or what way it's going to be. But Harry Cobden is going to fill the number one spot for JP come, I think, around the middle of May or the start of May, after Punchestown really. But look, I suppose Richie McLaren, I just want to touch on him as well. It's great to see him having a big Cheltenham Festival winner. He is another key part of the McManus fold, based in the UK, of course, an Irishman, Richie. I remember 1 year in the stall, himself and Aidan Coleman were over. We used to stay in the stall for the week when it was mixed car back then. The crack was mighty, but I remember Richie was there for a few days and we hung around, and he's a real nice, down to earth guy, and it was great to see. You could see by it in the interview,
Yeah.
Great to see him riding those big winners. But look, we won't touch too much more on day one. We're going to kick straight. As I said, we're going to preview day three, which is Thursday's action. St. Patrick's Day, isn't it? Thursday, apparently, even though it's like the 12th.
St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah, the 12th. So look, I think if you can try and harness Cheltenham around St. Patrick's Day, I think it'd be some spectacle. Every time it's ran on St. Patrick's Day, whatever day it lands on, it's some crack. But anyway, look, let's kick on.
Yeah,
it's one of the trickier days racing. It's wide open. Big, long, depthy fields, even in the graded races, and it's going to take there's plenty of jigsaws to try and get the puzzles of. And as I said last night, some of those jigsaws are like the ones you go to the box thinking that all of a sudden you have the puzzles figured out, and all of a sudden you get the wrong piece. Yeah, or then you try and get the scissors out and call up and sellotape it in, but it doesn't work. Look, we're going to kick on straight with the first race. The Mayor's Novice Hurdle, a Grade 2 contest over 2 miles, 22 declared here. Of course, warm favourite has to be last year's champion bumper winner, Bambino Fever, got off the mark the last day. The one they all have to beat, 11-10, very, very short for me though, Willie Mullins, Paul Townend. Look, she's probably the best one. She's definitely the best one in the race. She's got the form. She came here last year. She blew him away in the bumper. Took 2 goes to get off the mark over hers, but look, Willie's horses were on fire in the first time, and she's definitely one they all going to have to beat. But I'm not going to back her in this type of a race at 11-10. I'm taking. I had a couple of draws each way, but I think the one for me that I've been kind of tipping up in a few previews was Future Prospect. I really like this Order St. George mare. She's a 6-year-old, owned with Mr. John Magner, runs in his colours, but in conjunction with Bronston Racing. And as I said last night, I touched on them. They have a couple of nice young prospects going. And this one could be well named with future prospect. I was really taken with her in Naas. Now I know she's only won a maiden hurdle, but she was very good in the day, and still she ran green that day. You know, it's plenty of raw
Yeah.
ability that still had to be come on from the run. You'd imagine she beat Newbrook by 9.5 lengths. It was a 25 runner contest in Naas. They're not easily in Naas. They're not easily won. But what's interesting about this runner is she won a bumper in Fairyhouse last year on debut. Then she went to Leopardstown to the DRF where Paddy rode her. She was actually favoured behind Bambino Fever. She was 11 to 8 on the day and she drifted to 9 to 4, but Paddy chose her that day. Then she went back to Fairyhouse around the Easter Festival and she was third of 8 behind Switch from Diesel, who was arguably one of the best bumper runners around at the time. Paddy rode her again that day, and then she went to her last start in a bumper was in the grade 3 that Paddy did ride her, and she finished middle of the pack. But I really thought her first run over hurdles, she was no, there is a lot of ability there. These other St. George, I really like him as a national hunt horses. Harry Cobden gets to ride. That could be an interesting link up as
Yeah.
well. And at 20 to 1, I'd rather take a chance. You're probably going to get 4 places in the race. So for me, future prospect might be just that. And it's worth noting as well, Carrigmore Spruce could run well at a price for Declan Queally. James Bowen takes them out. But it's a very interesting owner who's come in to buy this one. Victorious Forever. That they're more known in the flat sphere. They've had Royal Ascot winners. They're the red with colours with the white sleeves, white striped sleeves. But that's an interesting link up there as an owner. It'd be great to see those type of owners coming into the national hunt sphere as well. So I hope Carrigmore Spruce, and I can see her running the race as well. She's 10 to 1 at the minute, but for me, future prospect at 20s, I'll take a chance with it each way.
I think you've literally touched on everything. No, look.
What do you fancy, James?
Look, personally, I won't be having a bet in this race.
Okay.
I won't, honestly. But you'd have to go with Bambino Fever.
Yeah.
She's won around Cheltenham. She won a champion bumper there last year. Came back to Ireland. She won the champion bumper up in Punchestown. I know on her first start, it was Old School Outlaw had beaten her. It was by a half a length, I think, was it?
Yeah.
First run over hurdles. That wouldn't be putting me off now, I'll be honest. If I was wanting the money down on her now. She ran then, she won after that, then in Naas, I think, was it?
Yeah.
No, sorry. No, Fairyhouse. But just like a mare like this, she could be a future champion hurdle horse too.
Yeah.
You know, her form is unbelievable. And it's nearly all graded races. You know, grade 2s. Like there were 2 grade 1s. You know, you couldn't look past her. So for me, I wouldn't be having a bet in this race. I'd like to see her win it. I do think she will win it. How impressive will she be is the question.
Yeah, she could be a monster in this.
It could be anything.
Just at the prices of the 322 runner Mayor's novice hurdle, I'd rather take. That's why I'm going to say with something each way, just as a small play, and put it maybe in Lucky 15 as a little fun bet or something.
Yeah.
All right, we'll move on. So on, and I'm going to let you take the mantle with this one. This is the Jack Richards novice handicap chase. It's a grade 2 contest over 2.5 miles. 20 runners declared here. Show me the piece of the puzzle you put together for this one, James.
This was a hard one now, I'll be honest. I'd say that's why you gave it to me. But no, there's a horse here now, right?
Okay.
And I'm not saying he'll win, but he is a horse that I would say to anyone that's watching or watches this back, write him down, because this horse has a bright future ahead of him. And it's a horse belonging to Owen Griffin. Ricky Doyle rides it. Old Man Dingle. Ran the last day in the Drinmore. Romeo Coolio won that race. He's a horse I think has a bright future. Now, I'd like to see him running well on Thursday. He's a big enough price. I'd like to see him running well for the yard. And for the owners, I'm sure they're probably following yourself as well. It's Dunglen. It's a Dunglen Racing.
Yeah, really good bunch of owners.
Good bunch of lads. And going back through his form there, he won down in Cork. Ricky Doyle rode him again. He won by 2.5 lengths. He bet that you ought to know. He bet Nürburgring as well, actually. It's the same day.
Yeah.
And then he went straight on then to, it was the, after that, that was down in Cork. He went down to Fairyhouse then, which was the Drinmore, the Bar 1 Drinmore. And look, when you look at what was in that race, Romeo Coolio, Gold Dancer, Captain Cody, a horse that's won Simpson's Raffles, Dolce Vita, and Pied Piper, who's been around the block now with a while. Like, and this lad's he's still only a 6-year-old. So he'd be a horse I'd be definitely writing down and keeping an eye on. And if he shows a bit on Thursday, he could be a horse for an Irish Grand National.
Oh, you heard it here first. James Brennan's tipping the 2027 Irish Grand National winner.
And I think a lot of novices have won the Irish Grand National.
Yeah.
And
they have done, especially in recent years.
Yeah, one more other horse I'll go because it's a big handicap, big runner, with a big field, and I'd like to see this person riding a winner there now. I'll be honest. And look, I know it's a lot to be saying. Possibly be the next Rachel Blackmore. Is Anna McGuinness's horse she rides for Willie Mullins. It's Gold Dancer, and it was fourth at Navan the last time behind Connor King's horse, Oscar's brother. Now, it probably hasn't won in the last 5 or 6 starts, but his form is fairly decent form, and I'd reckon it's about probably 22-1 or 16s of that.
25 is a Boyle Sports.
25 is a Boyle Sports. For an each way bet, there'd be 2 I'd throw into it there. Old Man Dingle and Gold Dancer, and as I said, I'd like to see Old Man Dingle run well for the connections.
Yeah, they're a great bunch of owners. Yeah,
Good bunch of lads.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you the truth now, Owen Griffin can train horses.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about that. So I would write Old Man Dingle down, and I'd have him in the back of my head, possibly, for the Irish Grand National.
Yeah. Okay, I really like Wingman here, Gordon Ellis runner. I think he's a really good horse, and I just think he needs to get his day. Of course, he's been beaten by some really good horses, and this in grade ones. He was second in a grade one in Leopardstown in a novice hurdle. He was third in a grade one. He was second here in December last, say in 24. He came to the Alba Bartlett last year. I fancied him on the day. He didn't really. He ran early, like he was up there with the pace, but he didn't get home. But I just don't think he was fully right that day. I think he's got some really nice form. He hasn't won since November when winning his maiden hurdle, but
in 24.
Yeah, but like he's only ran about 5 or 6 times since that. He's only 4 starts over hurdles, but like he's been second in a grade one. He's been third in a grade one. He's been beaten by some. He's been unlucky in some of the horses he's been beaten by. He's been beaten by Final Demand.
Yeah.
Yasmin Devoy. Some really nice types, I thought. Like he was a really good bumper horse too, a really smart bumper horse. So yeah, I think Wingman at 12-1. I think he's really good value first time in a handicap. It's very interesting here that Willie Mullins runs 5 in the race and Paul doesn't take a ride in it. Of them, before I was waiting for jockey bookings to come in, I actually thought Gold Dancer, even if it was to carry the weight, I thought would be a good each way play. And McGuinness, cracking rider, has rode a lot of winners. So she's after getting a bit of notoriety. Actually, not really. Her ability has got her where she is, but riding for the likes of Willie Mullins does put you up there. And the fact that he's given her rides and trusting her, and you've seen her taking full advantage of it.
Yeah.
£7 off of this 11-12 brings it back down to 11.5. That brings her bang in here, Gold Dancer, or him, should I say, in the Gigginstown colours. It'll be some platform to ride a Cheltenham winner in those colours for that trainer, and to be definitely a career trajectory, to be a kickstart big time.
Oh, huge.
So I think Gold Dancer, I wouldn't put you off there as well. But it is very interesting that Paul didn't take a ride in the race. I know maybe he mightn't have done 10-6 on Dr. Eggman, who's not without a chance. Of good to see John Shinnick as well, a claimer that you've taught a lot of back in the day, and I giving him his his flowers before he was that well known, and he's been shown to showcase what he's capable of too. So, yeah, I'm siding with two. Wingman is my real strong each way selection, and then a small and fun one again would be goal dancer.
Yeah, almost similar. Goal dancer
Yeah,
has like that as well. Yeah, yeah.
yeah. You've said enough about goal dancer's form, but we'll move straight into the Mayor's Hurdle, 2.5 miles. It's cut up now since Lassie Mountain Brighter Days Ahead went to the champion hurdle. We've got Voodoo, last year's Spartan Pipe winner, who's been probably arguably the form mayor or filly, should I say. She's only 6 year old still. Of the last 12 or 14 months, she's won I don't know how many races. She's unbeaten in Ireland for her last 4 runs, I think. But she, as I said, she won the Mountain Pipe. She was second in entry in that Grade 1 behind Lossiemouth, beating 2 3/4 lengths. But I'm actually going to take her on here. I really like Jade DeGrugy. See
I'm with
her
you.
winning in, I see her winning in Thurles. I think you
I was
Thurles
there
she
that
would
day.
have
Yeah,
that novice chase to Grade 2. She beat
yeah.
Heresies by 18 lengths, but like she was powering her way up. I just think she's a Grade 1 winner over hurdles. She's got some really nice form. Of course, she was she she was second in the Mayor's Hurdle last year, only beaten, she was beaten 7.5 lengths by Lossiemouth, but
Lots of
Lossiemouth was
them. Yeah,
absolutely scintillating that day. Lossiemouth was won the champion hurdle. She didn't come back to Punchestown where she won the Grade 1, beating Darla Massot by 6 lengths or 6.5
I
lengths.
was actually
I just think,
I was
yeah,
there that day myself,
yeah,
and she blew me away.
yeah, and I just think Paul Townend, you've seen her how confident he was today. I think he'll give this a confidence right. I think he'll
Yeah.
dictate whatever happens, and I think myself, Jay DeGruzy gets the job done in the Mayor's Hurdle.
Well, as I said, I'm with you on that one. When I was looking through it, don't get me wrong, Elliot's horse she's progressed no end from
Oh yeah,
from from from,
yeah,
from the Mountain Pipe onwards, and she's a serious mare. She's very good cruising speed. But when I was just going through it more and more, you can't look past graded form, like,
no,
and if Jade Grugy there, it's won 2 Grade 1s, a Grade 3, a fourth in a Grade 3. One last time out at Thurles was a Grade 2, and it was very impressive that day. I know it was over fences. But
yeah.
when I saw the price of this, 3-1, I said, if this goes any higher, not only would I put a few quid on it, I go to the credit union.
No, and that's not a thing you say too often. Like she's actually
No, of course.
again, she's
Just
130 with
what
bike
is
sports.
form?
Like, yeah,
Serious form. Now, another horse could have done well too is Paul Nolan's horse, Feet of a Dancer.
yeah,
But it's the top two now I'd be siding with. Yeah, I'd definitely go with Mullins as one, Jade DeGrugy. Like, as I said, you can't be class. I'm not saying Elliot's horse is not class, but for anyone watching, as I said, and I'm after saying it the last few nights, go back down through the form. She's plenty of graded form there.
yeah.
Winning Grade 1s, Grade 2s, Grade 3s. You can't be class like that, I think.
And
And then,
she don't have a whole pile of miles on the clock either.
no, she doesn't.
No.
So that's why I would be going with in the Mayor's Hurdle, the same as yourself, Mark, Jade DeGrugy.
All right, we're definitely not going to agree with this one. We're going to go to one of, well, I think this is the feature race today. It's the Stayers Hurdle. They're saying it's the Ryanair, but for me, the Stayers Hurdle was the feature race. Maybe I'm wrong, but just short of the 3 miles, 11 runners declared here. It's an interesting contest again. You've got last year's winner Bob Ollinger. I think he's unbeaten at the festival actually, isn't he?
He is
Yeah.
four.
Four,
He's won
yeah.
four times at the festival.
And this is his swan song. I think he's Erla just come into the comments. He's skipping day 2 Cheltenham. No, I tell you what it is, Erla. What we're doing is we're doing our previews as they declare. So last night's preview is up for tomorrow's race, and that's actually on both of our pages on the main feed. There, you'll see the reel up there from last night. The live is still up from last night. So what we do is we get on and we preview it 2 days in advance. But yeah, as I said, 11 runners take their chance here. I'm going to go straight to you again, James. Who do you fancy here in the Stayers Hurdle?
I went with Bob Ollinger.
Okay.
Now, I know he's an 11-year-old, right? He's won at the festival 4 times. He's won this race last year. he's very lightly raced since, like, and his last run was what was it? I get it here now. I had it wrote down and all. His last run was in
Leopardstown.
Leopardstown
Yeah,
over Christmas. He finished second to Teopu. But I get the impression that it's like, as we said the last year, like, it is horses for course, horses for course. But I just reckon this fella, I'd say as soon as he walks out onto the track, I'd say he's just another horse altogether. Like,
yeah.
yeah,
He's
like,
how he feels.
it
He
just
feels at
lights
home. He
up.
comes
Like,
alive.
it just comes alive, and you see that with horses as well. And look, I don't want to be going away from the stairs hurdle, but I was watching a video yesterday as well. Another horse of Henry the Bromhead's was Captain Guinness. If you saw that video going around, I don't know, did you see it? And he was kicking and bucking out and that. And I just thought, the first thing I thought was, there's another horse, there's one around Cheltenham as well. Another horse of the Bromheads. Or he gets to Cheltenham and it's just a different animal altogether. It's
Yeah,
like a switch. But look, I know, look, he's 11 years of age. To be fair, Henry the Bromhead was on last year on a Cheltenham Preview night here in Waterford. And he couldn't believe it that the horse was I think it was 25 to 1 for this race last year. And he actually said, I hope I entered him. Joking. He's
Hmm.
25 to 1 and won the stairs last year. He's 13 to 2 again. He's 13 to 2 here. Now this mightn't be 100%. You might have it there in front of you, Mark. But I just think as well with the Bromhead and the staff he has, they manage to keep horses like this so sweet.
yeah,
They do a great job with them. Even you saw with was it Envoy Allen winning around down Royal. They do a great job with them, and they know they do a lot of loose schooling as well, which is fantastic for horses. And it obviously gets their eye in, and it keeps them sweet too. You know what I mean? It's something different. So I would be going for Bob Allinger each way,
okay.
and I think if the ground stayed kind of. Are they giving it good or a good to soft?
Yeah, I'd say it's good. They're on about warm water in there. I think that if they're saying, I see a few lads asking questions there, like
Yeah,
Rogan, that I hope they water today. But you know, when they're watering it, so it says trying out big time over there. Like.
yeah. Another each way player. Then look, I'd have to fancy him for to be placed. Is Shark Hanlon's horse Hewick?
One of the comments there just said from earlier again, what about Hewick?
Yeah, I think he's a right chance boy, and
Mm,
he's a little dinger over hurdles. Yeah, and I know Shark had mentioned it himself on a couple of previews and his stuff with Boyle Sports and that, and he said about the Gold Cup, he was very unlucky that year in that Gold Cup.
yeah, I actually watched
He
it back.
was
He was.
very unlucky.
When he won over with the last time this lad won, it was in Torres, and it was my very first interview for the Flag to Finish page. Remember, I was talking to you after, so I got the shirt here, and one of the questions I asked him, because back then it was only a sweetener to go back chasing. I think he was going for was it that race in Ascot, was it? I'm not too sure what race it was anyway. He was it was back over fences anyhow. And I said, could we see him staying over? I thought he was really slick and quick over him.
Yeah,
Um, and he was about 40 to 1 back then. And
yeah,
I asked the question. You can go back in that interview. I think it was the
I
first one I asked
remember.
him. Yeah, I remember ringing you that evening. I was saying I got a little nugget there now where none of the percenters done,
Yeah,
and I
yeah.
said it. I said it to him about him staying over hurdles. So it's interesting he's went down that route. So if he does come and have an absolute fairy tale and win, I will be gloating about.
Oh yeah, man. You're dead right. Because even for the Waterford Cheltenham preview night, Shark was on the panel as well. And we went up to the yard to have a chat with him and do a bit of an interview to kind of promote it and that. And he said a friend of his rang him a couple of months back and said Hewick is 100 to 1 for the stairs hurdle. He said, well, he said, I can tell you, he said he won't be 100 to 1 much longer, he said. He obviously put a few quid on it, like, but um he's no dog either now, and
No.
it's recently as well, that young fella, Paddy, his son, he's riding a couple of winners. So
Yeah,
he'll be bursting with confidence. You have a young lad there that's riding him. Is he still claiming 7? I'm not too sure if he's claiming 7 or he's gone down to the 5.
You
But
know,
a young lad like that, full of confidence, they'll be going out there now. They won't be just going out there and say, look, I popped around now after riding around Cheltenham. He's going
yeah,
out there. He's going out there to ride for his father, and he's going out there to ride and try and win.
yeah,
And if the ground stays the way it is and suits Hewitt, he could upset the whole lot of them.
yeah. Um,
But it certainly wouldn't be ruling him out.
the one I fancy in the race is Nicky Henderson's runner in post 2.
Yeah,
JP McManus owns. Nico, the Bangle rides. I think this lad is way overpriced. He was 16s when I was looking at him about a week and a half ago or 2 weeks ago. He's 12s now, but I still think he's way overpriced. Look, he got beat the last day by Mashan 2, who reopposes here.
yeah.
In Cheltenham in the Cleve Hurdle, which is a Grade 2 contest and a real stepping stone for this race. A lot of good ones have won it coming here to try and win this race and have won this race, but he was a very good impressive of the long walk in Newbury, which is a Grade 2 contest. You know, you're by half length to beat strong leader, but then he went on and beat strong leader by a length and a quarter in Ascot in the long walk. I just think even the last day, like if you watch back his run, I think if he got another run at the winner and had a more clear run through, I think he would have put it up to and he could have won. Like he was second in the here last year in the Coral Cup behind Jimmy Desai. That was some
Yeah.
run. It was 26 runners in the race.
I'm just looking at
Um,
it there now, actually, and funny enough, as we touched on last night with a horse that's running tomorrow, as a huge price at about 33-1, Colonel Mustard, when he
yeah,
finished about not even 2 lengths behind him.
yeah,
That run tomorrow, if anyone wants to go back and watch that, it's for tomorrow, for day 2.
yeah. It's up
But
on our page. Yeah,
he has the form there. He's 2 mile 5 there as well in the Coral Cup. The last time, as you were saying there, sorry to interrupt you.
yeah. No, no, no. But I just think if you go back through this last form, like he's won, he won in a novice handicap hurdle around here, beating 17 runners. That was obviously November 23. As I said, he was second in the Coral Cup last year. Came over to Punchestown then and was second as well. But I just think the form he's been in this year, I think it'll really suit him. I think if they go a gallop, he'll come there and he could pick off the pieces. I'm actually really sweeting this lad each way. He's my each way nap of the day actually in post 2 at 12-1 to win the stairs. The other interesting one for me was Ballyburn. I think he could put in a performance, but I just think the 3 miles might be a bit too far for him. He was
Yeah,
interesting. He was entered in the champion hurdle, which is over 2 miles, and this. I actually think maybe 2.5 miles. But who am I to tell Willie Muns and Paul Town and
yeah,
what the optimum trip for a horse is? I think Ballyburn, because I remember watching a clip from Paul a few weeks ago or a couple of months ago, and it was just something, you know, they were asking him questions about horses, I think about Cheltenham, and it was a long way back, and he mentioned Ballyburn, like he brought him up on his own, and he was like, look, I think there's one in him or some of them lines he was saying. I don't want to misquote him out of context, but
yeah.
Ballyburn is a very interesting runner for me, and on his day, he's still only 8 years old. Um, he is a bit of class as well, Ballyburn, but for me, I'm going to go with Impost Twat each way in the stairs. We're going to kick on then straight to the Ryanair. This is the feature race of the day. 9 declare here, 2.5 miles. Interesting one that stays in, I suppose, is John Bon. You know, bridesmaid here at the festival, has won around the course, not at the festival. People say he's not a Cheltenham horse, but yeah, he's won plenty of races around here. I'd love to see him win. But look, they all have to beat Factor File. He was absolutely breathtaking the last day, and of course, we seen him here. Um, we seen him here last year winning this race, the Ryanair, and he was so impressive that day. So yeah, look, I think we're all in. A lot of people, and I think he just has to jump around. Really, 8-13. He's not going to make anyone rich. It's a
Yeah.
race I'd rather just watch and watch a real good horse put in a performance. And again, if he got ran down by John Bon, if he stays in, I'd be cheering home John Bon. Being honest with you, I have a real soft spot for John Bon. Um, to be fair, I took on John Bon when El Fabiola you beat him as a novice in that. Um, but I just think he's a horse that's really I've grown affection for, and I think I don't think anyone would deny John Bon winning, but to me, Factor Five wins and wins impressively.
Yeah, what he done the last day was breathtaking, wasn't it?
Yeah, look, he's an aeroplane, as they say.
Now, I'd be with you again, obviously, on this. I do think he is the one to beat. I think Mark Welch is going to have a serious week. I really, really do. But so is the bus. I'd say for an each way bet. Again, like yourself, Mark. I won't be going here. I'll just watch it. I won't have a bet in this at all. Too short. But I'd like to know. You probably have it right there in front of you with Biles. What price? I think it could be 9 or 10 to 1. Is Henry the Bromhead's horse Heartwood
8 to 1.
8 to 1? He won around Shamor back on New Year's Day. The O'Driscolls Chase Grade 3. I thought he was very, very impressive now that day. And that race is normally aimed with the likes of Willie Mullins. He'll go down there to Tramore on New Year's Day, head straight to Cheltenham. He hasn't run since. Henry the Ramhead obviously hasn't run here now in the Ryanair on Thursday. And if he actually wins this race, they'll get a €50,000 bonus
Oh, really? Yeah.
with O'Driscoll's Irish Whiskey. That was the if you won the race in Tramore, the Grade 3 O'Driscoll's Chase, and go on to Cheltenham and win any race at the Cheltenham Festival, it was a €50,000 bonus. So
Is that in whiskey vouchers?
that could be now, or an off-license voucher. But look, I thought he was very impressive that day in Tramore. And as I said, he hasn't been seen since. Yeah, I'd probably have a few quid on him each way if I was having a bet. But like yourself, I won't be. I'll happily sit back and watch it. But
Okay.
yeah, I'd probably have a few quid each way on Hartwood.
Right. We'll move on. We go to the penultimate race on day 3, the Thursday, St. Patrick's Thursday, and we're going to go to the Pertemps Network final handicap hurdle. 26 runners declared, just shy of the 3 miles. Again, this is a real interesting race. You know, a lot of runners trying to get into this race, qualify for this race. What have they done? Marks. They want to keep their marks. So this is the real chess race for me. Puzzling up and seeing what happens. For one, that I was really sweet on when I seen him winning the last day. Well, it wasn't too long ago. It was only about, I'd say, 2 weeks ago now. The back end of February it was in Naas. Was Emmett Mullins' runner, Melbourne Shamrock, runs in those famous Robert Whaley Cohen colours. Of course, long run being most associated with, but the trainer has given him a Grand National winner. And Sam rode it. But Donald Milo comes in for the ride here. Melbourne Shamrock, he won the Pertemps final qualifier in Naas, and he had to win that to get in here. He did. I thought it was a really classy performance. He beat Manila Saxo, who reopposes here, beat him by a neck, but it was always holding him, and he was a really good performance line. Both runners, I thought, were class ahead of the rest of the field. And they pulled clear of the third, I thought, on the day. I just thought the both of them were really classy compared to the rest of the field on the day. And I always like a horse that has to do what it has to do to get into a race, is in from the trainer's perspective of plotting him out for a race. And this lad had to win to get in, and he did. Now they reoppose again, but like Manila or Melbourne Shamrock is better at the weights again. So for me, I think at 14 to 1, you're going to get those extra places again each way. I think Melbourne Shamrock for me is a cracking each way play.
One that I'm going to go for is Letos. Danny Mullins rides for Tony Mullins, for his father.
Oh, this was the horse he tipped or something.
Yeah, Tony Mullins actually it might not be a year ago. It's a good couple of months ago, and he actually gave this tip out about this horse and said he thought an awful lot of it. He ended up going to Naas and won it was a listed hurdle. It was the Brown Lad handicap hurdle, a listed hurdle, and he won by a length and a half. He was rated back then 119. He's rated 132 now. He's got up 13 pounds. He's only carrying 10 stone 8. He's only a 6-year-old. He's practically still a baby. As we know, Danny Mullins off to a right start to the week. And Tony Mullins did say it the other day. I think it could have been Dave Keane interviewed him. And he said, if this horse gets there 100%, he said, He said, I can see him being there or thereabouts, he said. And if he gets there in one piece and everything goes accordingly and goes to plan, like every horse is the same, like, but these lads know the time of day, and it's probably the same word I'm using the whole time, like, but yeah, that'd be a horse there now. I'd have a few quid on each way. Letos. He ran actually in Carlisle. Actually, I think it was Carlisle back in. It was back in the 14th of December. He was second, and I think they fancied him. There was word going around about him. He's beaten 3 3 3/4 lengths. Horse and Nicky Richards, Nab Wood. Uh, at that stage, the horse was rated 128. Letos was rated 131. Going here now Thursday, if this horse turns up, I reckon he's the right man on board. He's full of confidence. Rode a big winner today in the Thames, and he was very unlucky on that blaze. It was a blaze away as well for his man, Mags Mullins. And actually, I think they finished 6th or 7th at the end, but it looked like at one stage it was knocked about a bit. And I thought he at one stage he could have been there now to at a big price to shed a few tears for others. But look, yeah, in this I go with Tony Mullins' horse, Danny Mullins.
This, of course, again is another puzzler. Is the Kim Muir. One of those real interesting races to watch. 3 miles too for the amateur riders. 26 declared here. I'll let you take it away first of all, James.
Yeah, I've gone with Henry the Bramhead's horse again. I think if his horse to start hitting a bit of form, he's going to have a good week. He always has a very, very good Cheltenham. And it's not because of the name or because of Waterford, but Waterford Whispers. And Alan O'Sullivan rides it. Very good up and coming rider. Extremely good rider. And it actually ran the last day. Finished third in a grade 3 handicap chase. It was O'Driscoll's Irish Whiskey again. It had it at Leopardstown. And Emmett Mullins' horse won Back Me or Sack Me. And he went out through it. He wasn't even beaten a length and a half. Or, he was third. He was beaten a length and a neck. And Mark Welch rode him that day. He went off at a price of 7-1. He was only carrying 10-4. I know Thursday it'll be a bit heavier. He's carrying 11-6, but Alan O'Sullivan will take 3 off his back. As I said, very good rider. If I was training horses, I'd have him on a horse in a heartbeat. So I've gone for Waterford Whispers in the Commuer.
Perfect. My selection in the race is one of Joseph O'Brien's. It was multi-enter, this lad. He was big prices and all in three handicaps. I fancied him in. Kim Rouge, or Rogue. Kim Rouge, a 6-year-old. He is. Cracking rider takes the ride here. He managed John Gleeson. He's had 3 runs since coming over from France. He's won around. He won a couple of races in France. He won, I think, 3 in total in France, and that's all. They're always good deep races. He won chases and hurdles over there. I think he was a really interesting prospect to have bought. As I said, he's had the 3 runs. His debut for Joseph, he came over to Cheltenham in the November meeting, and he was second in a novice handicap chase over 2.5 miles. He then went to back. It's interesting. Like, his next run was in the December Gold Cup in Cheltenham again, where he finished 4th. He was beaten 8 in 3 parts per length by Glenn Gooley, and then his last run was in Leopardstown at the DRF. In the grade 3, where he was 5th of 23 runners, only beaten 5 lengths by Batney or Sackney.
Yeah. Same race as Waterford Whispers was third.
They're all real intriguing runs, those. And I think this lad, if he's right, I think he is. I think he will be. Obviously, Joseph will have him there, right? John Gleeson has been riding a host of winners lately. Again, great to see. He's won a festival race back in the day, of course, and a dream to share. The confidence is up. He runs in Ronnie Barrett's colours, but it's interesting because he's owned by Jay McCarthy and Paul Shanahan too. So a couple of good, interesting names that own him. I think he's about 10-1 and still at the minute. So Kim Rouge for me. I've been tipping him in some of them previews in the handicaps. He was a lot bigger. A few weeks ago. I haven't backed him yet. Now I'm going to wait till the morning. But yeah, for me, Kim Rouge is very, very interesting for Joseph Bryan. I actually think if this lad is ready to rock, he'll do the business here in the final race.
That was good.
Look, as I said before we came on, this is probably the hardest day's racing to put the pieces together. But these are the pieces of puzzles we like to put together, and when you do get these pieces of the puzzles together, it makes for some good, interesting, fun, small bets that you can enjoy. Do a lucky 15, pick out 4 of them at massive prices, and enjoy the day. But these tough, deep races, these are the ones to be watching because you have everything in them. You'll have horses going out making a run and getting caught in the line. You'll have ones going out pegging back. You'll have drama and annoyance. But for me, really looking forward to Thursday's race, and I'm really looking forward to day 2, which we've previewed. As I said, it's on our page as well. If there's anything to go by day 1, and we're in for a treat. Day 3, what's going to be your highlight race?
Day 3, I'd have to say the Stayers Hurl.
Yeah.
It's. I know Theo will go favourite. Some real decent horses in it. Obviously, for a grade 1, but I mean, a horse we even forgot about as well was won by the Lee, just for Brian's horse.
He's a bit of an enigma.
Yeah, it was it last season or 2 seasons ago. I thought it was the time that he'd go there and actually probably win there, but it didn't happen for him. Another horse there as well then is Honesty Policy, Gordon Elliott's horse. We had forgotten about. Mark Welch rides solid form there as well. Then you go back, then you have Hewick, you have Bollinger, as you said, Ballyburn is there as well. It could go anyway.
Yeah,
and that's what we want to see as people watching racing.
Exactly. I suppose I have a couple of highlights. I'm really looking forward to the first race, that Mayor's Novice Hurdle. There's 22 runners here. It could be a cracking contest. Bambino Fever puts on a performance. She's definitely a real note to take name of to go. Where could she end up next year? I hope Future Prospect runs the race. I'm really excited to see her. I think she's a cracking play at 20-1. The other race I'm really looking forward to, of course, has to be the Stayers Hurdle, and I'm really sweet on Impost Trois.
Yeah.
But again, look, I think every contest on Thursday is wide open and it's deep. The fields are deep, so they're in for a real treat. As race enthusiasts, I think we're in for a real treat Thursday.
Yeah.
I also want to touch on, before we go, James, Thursday is Limerick. It's the only race meeting that takes place in Ireland for Cheltenham. I'm actually down there. It's my first major gig with Bile Sports. I'm actually hosting the panel there's a tipping panel before racing, so we're going to come on and talk about the Cheltenham Thursday's card. We're going to go through it in depth. We're going to touch on Friday's card. We're going to touch on Limerick's card as well. It's a real good panel. It's myself, Emmett McNamara, Mark Enright, Michael Horgan. He's supposed to be on it. I'm not 100% sure if he's there yet. But no doubt they'll get a reserve. But it's a real cracking day's racing down there. There's some really good races. It's a half 12 kickoff, a half race kickoff. 8 race card. There's a cracking hurdle race to get us going over 2 miles, but the feature race has to be the second race on the card, the Bile Sports Shannon Spray Novice Hurdle, a grade 3 contest over 2 miles 6, 8 runners to clear. But you've got House Hannah from Willie Mullins, winner of his last 3, winner of his first 2 over fences. Jody Town or hurdles. Jody Town comes in for the ride. He's going to take the beating. Apples Jane runs. Josh Williamson takes the ride. But there's a couple of other cracking races on the card, and to be there to watch the race and then to dip in and out and be able to watch watch Cheltenham as well. I'm going to be there, as I said. It's my first major gig. Willie Mullins has a host of runners in the card. Gordon Elliott has Eric McNamara. All the good trainers, all the trainers do. It's a
Yeah,
real competitive card as well as the graded race as well. And Limerick are putting on a show there. It's well worth checking out their page. So I'd implore anyone that if they have, some people take the week off work to watch the Cheltenham and that, and if they're at nothing, Limerick is only you're only literally off the motorway and you're there. I think it's a cracking day's racing.
yeah, and like just as you're saying there as well, like cracking days racing for anyone that's not ever been to Limerick, it's a gorgeous race course.
Gorgeous, and you've a great view of the track. You're looking straight down
Unbelievable.
it.
Anyone if they've never been there, I'd definitely recommend to go there. It's
Yeah.
unbelievable. It's one of the best in the country.
Yeah. Well, look, with that, James, again, thanks for joining me here tonight. I think it's been well received. Our previews the good responses for it. And look, it all happens with people that are watching it and sharing it out. Again, I said it, anyone that's watching this on my channel, head over to Flag to Finish Racing. Anyone on my channel here now, give Irish Racing a follow as well, James Brennan. We're going to be doing a lot more content solo and together for the year, so we're really looking
Yeah,
forward to this. This week it's a real dip in the toe in the water, and we're going to keep it rolling.
yeah. I actually, do you know what the mad thing is? As I said to you the other night, I'm kind of glad now we done the 4 days
Yeah,
instead of just doing it all in one.
uh,
Because I'll be honest, I probably don't do enough in front of a camera, and I'll be honest, I don't. And it can be a little bit out of your comfort zone.
I'm telling
So
you, look, we are
as
putting
time is
ourselves
going
out
by,
there.
you get that little bit of confidence as well. Like, so it's nice for me to do something different too. Like,
100%. And yeah, look, it's been well received. But again, anyone that wants to come into us with a bit of feedback or whatever, just give us a DM and we'll take it on board, because that's what we want to do. We want to learn and we want to progress.
yeah,
And all we're trying to do is come on and highlight the sport for what it is. Because we love the sport, to be fair. Different paths. James ridden in races. I work for the bookmaking side of it, but again, both of us are just horse race enthusiasts. Love going racing. We have a lot of friends involved in the sport, and we have a real passion for it. We want to showcase it to the normal everyday viewer.
yeah, totally
So
agree.
again, I've been Mark Fanning from Flag to Finish Racing,
I've been James Brennan from Irish Racing Media.
and good night.
Good luck.
Good night.
See you back.